All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Malzberg panel. Two-parter today, as usual. And joining us, Democratic political consultant and political strategist at Douglas Show and LLC, Jessica Tarlov, and Republican strategist and author of Hail Mary, Ford O'Connell. And Ford, let me start with you. The Justice Department announcing today, finally, that no federal charges will be filed against George Zimmerman. Took them 3 years to get that one. It took them a lot less to go to decide they're not going to do that with the police officer in Ferguson. And weigh in on the time, but also what gets me is they went out of their way to say, although there are no charges, that we have to understand that this resulted in the tragic loss of a teenager's life, and our decision not to pursue charges does not in any way condone the shooting. I don't know, but the shooting was kind of self-defense. That's what a jury found. And, you know, if he didn't shoot, he might have been dead. I don't understand their having to
Steve,
weigh
let's
in
understand what this
further
is about.
than the
This
jury
was about
ruled.
a PR situation for the government. They wanted to placate the African-American community who was clearly unhappy about this. Here's what I don't get. Legally speaking, I didn't understand how the government was ever going to return an indictment against Zimmerman. He wasn't a state actor. Delaying his charging was not a violation of civil rights. And under the Hate Crime Prevention Act of 2009, you have to show racial animus beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm not sure you could do that anyway. So this whole thing was really a PR stunt by the Justice Department.
Jessica?
Well, I mean, I disagree to a large degree. I think that really what Eric Holder is trying to do and
Wait, Jessica,
what they were
legally
trying to
or
do there.
emotionally you disagree? Wait, legally or emotionally?
Well, I would say emotionally and legally, I'm not a legal analyst, but obviously, if the Justice Department thinks that there's a case for this, there has to be to some degree. And I just want to say that I think it's really more important for us to be looking now at race relations in this country, especially in light of what happened in Staten Island and Ferguson and the original big case there with Trayvon Martin.
What happened in Ferguson? A thug beat up a cop and was killed.
I first of all don't think that that's great language to be using.
You don't think he was a thug?
No, I don't think
no,
that
what
he
was he? How would you describe a guy who just robbed a store, strong-armed the owner, and then beat up a cop and grabbed for his gun and shot it and then charged the cop? Tell me how you would describe someone like that.
I would say someone who is acting aggressively, but I think the term thug is really derogatory. And
yeah, it's derogatory. He broke the law. He was
you don't
attacking
need to yell
a cop.
about it. Oh, okay. I mean, we obviously disagree on this.
You don't think he was attacking a cop?
I think that they're obvious. The cop, sorry, Darren Wilson, obviously felt that he was under attack, but I'm not going to go so far as to use the word thug.
All right, what about it, Ford? I mean, look,
let
they
me
sent
just say
3
one
people
thing.
from the
Legally
administration to
speaking,
that
Steve,
funeral. Yeah.
Steve, legally speaking, I find it very hard for an indictment to be returned in the case, in the Ferguson case either, as far as basically the federal law is written on civil rights situation. Jessica does have a point. The race relations in this nation are terrible, particularly under this president. How we move forward, I don't know, but we got to stop confusing emotion with the law.
And by the way, you'll never see a civil suit brought against the cop by the parents of Michael Brown, I believe, just like you've never seen one brought by Trayvon Martin's parents against George Zimmerman because they don't want all the facts about their children to come out.
Doesn't that mean then that people aren't confusing the law then? I mean, these people are not getting indicted. So isn't that, I mean, we can deal with the emotional issue here.
I'm talking about the parents won't bring civil suits because then all the facts about the kids, how they
that they know that they deserve these horrible, untimely deaths.
I'm not saying in those instances. Well, you know what? You charge a cop, you grab for his gun, you might wind up dead. And if you bash someone heads into the ground and beat him while he's screaming for help, if he has a gun, you might wind up dead.
And what about Eric Garner?
I'm not talking about Eric Garner.
Why aren't we talking about Eric Garner?
Eric Garner is certainly a very different case from Trayvon Martin.
Go ahead, Ford.
No, Eric Garner is a very different case than Michael Brown and Trayvon Martin. Unfortunately, what's happened here is the Justice Department and people like Al Sharpton have managed to basically confuse the three such that further to incite the black community in this situation. And that is honestly why we are going through this civil rights dog and pony show.
But it's not just, you know what, Ford? It's not just Al Sharpton. It's Barack Obama. It's Eric Holder. And other black elected officials who are purposely confusing the three. And by the way, Eric Garner resisted arrest. If he had not resisted arrest, then he probably would have been alive today. But, you know, What are you going to do? All right, folks, so we're going to be back with more of the Malzberg panel. We have a lot to talk about. The VA chief lies about his military service and says today, hey, I'm sorry, I had no reason, I misspoke, no excuse, so life goes on. Should it? Keith Olbermann was suspended by ESPN today for tweeting some things out. We'll talk about all of that. Don't go away.
You happen to be a veteran of military service?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Army, Navy, Air
Army.
Army? What
sir.
unit?
Special Forces.
Special Forces. What years? I was in Special Forces.
All right, that's Robert McDonald, ladies and gentlemen, the Veterans Affairs Secretary, acting more like Ronald McDonald, lying to a homeless veteran in the street about his military service. Jessica, what is it? You had the sitting senator now of Connecticut, Dick Blumenthal, when he was running, lied and said he fought in Vietnam, then had to take it back. You have this guy at Hillary lying about facing sniper fire. Brian Williams is a whole nother story. He's not, in politics and in position of authority anymore, or never has really been. But what is it with the lies, and why should he get a pass for this?
Well, I mean, I don't think that really anyone should get a pass, and I think the fact that he's out there and he's apologizing and he's taking responsibility for it means that he's not getting a pass. This will be forever tied to him, but we can't also afford to just be chucking out VA secretaries every 10 minutes. The guy's just begun. Let's see what he can do. He has a reform plan. Hopefully we can move forward, but I think it's a terrible mistake, just as he acknowledged and the White House acknowledged.
Well, it's not a mistake, Ford. It's a blatant, outright, purposeful distortion, which is defined as a lie.
It is a lie, and he did it on CBS News, and I have no understanding of why. He basically was a West Point graduate, served in the 82nd Airborne. He didn't need any more resume puffery. That's what I don't get here. Now, here's the lie that you should be concerned about, was the one that he said a couple of months ago, that they actually fired 60 people from the VA, and they never actually did. That is the lie to me that actually matters.
Well, they
but
fired
hey, maybe
8.
this is a pattern, Steve. I don't know.
Well, he gets a pass for saying, I'm sorry, yet Keith Olbermann at ESPN tweeted out his apologies and was still suspended by ESPN because, I mean, the great students at Penn State raised the money for pediatric cancer, and Keith Olbermann took to Twitter to blast them, and not because they raised money for cancer, but because they even went to Penn State. He has a problem with that, apparently. He called them all kinds of names for just daring to go to Penn State. And my point is, Brian Williams lied. He gets suspended. Keith Olbermann is offensive, and he gets suspended. But the head of the VA and Hillary gets promoted to Secretary of State for lying. Obama lies every day. The biggest lie in maybe recent history. You can keep your doctor and keep your health plan, and he gets reelected. I mean, what's
Steve,
going on here,
problem.
Jessica?
Here's the real problem.
Wait,
if this were a Republican VA secretary, he would be fired. and Jessica would be all over him, telling us that we're the worst people on earth. As for Keith Olbermann, he actually is the worst person on earth, so I'm glad. Brian Williams is a news anchor. He should be held to the highest standard, but this media is so in the bank for liberal America, it doesn't really matter anymore.
Absolutely. Jessica?
I mean, I don't disagree, except that Obama, what did you say, was the greatest liar in history or something
I said
like
he told
that?
the greatest lie. If you could keep, you like your doctor, you could keep him. You like your health care, you could keep him. He knew that wasn't true, and he told it over and over and over and over again.
Either way, I mean, I just don't know what you think.
But he was
we
able
can
to
do
tell
about
it
the
with
VA
this
Secretary
media,
situation.
Steve. That's the real key. He was able to do this in the internet era and get away with it. So frankly, it's actually the media who should be blamed for this, not President Obama. Because
Right.
if I were him, I'd
But
keep
Jessica,
on lying too, because I'm getting away with the greatest con on earth.
But Jessica, we mean you don't know what we could do about this VA guy. You fire him.
Okay. I mean, I just think this idea that people are totally infallible, I'm not saying it isn't a big lie. It was a big mistake. I don't know how you forget
It's
something like
CBS
that. I've never
News.
served,
This wasn't
but I
a
certainly
bar.
would know full well what I had done.
But guys, he didn't lie about, like Bill Richardson once had on his resume that he was drafted by the Dodgers or something. He is working with veterans, and he lied about his veteran status. I mean, it doesn't get worse than that.
It's also quite, I mean, it's public information that everyone knows about, or if they paid any attention to, the confirmations and Obama's picks for this. But I
Really?
would
Did
say
you know he
also
was a
that I agree with Ford that
1975
the bigger...
graduate from West Point? I'm just wondering.
Yeah. All right, guys. Very interesting conversation. I appreciate both of you, Ford O'Connell and Jessica Tarlov. We did not have time to get to Mitch McConnell's plan, which I think is a total sellout. I
think it's great.
Of course you do. I hope the Republicans hold to their guns in
It's
the
great
House.
because you've got us
and,
rolled over a barrel right now.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic.
Well, there shouldn't be a barrel that they're rolled over. The courts are on our side. We should go to the public, explain that, and let Obama veto a bill.
The public wants immigration reform.
Defunds us.
We're not going to
Not by
defund it.
fiat. We're coming back.